are going to talk about Star Trek Discovery again, but I feel like episode 6 warrants a review even though I've done one so recently because, oh my god. So, Choose Your Pain was what I thought was the beginning of an upward trajectory for the show. It looks like I was mistaken because it has just taken another nosedive in quality. So we're going to talk about it. First, what is this episode about? The general plot of the episode is that Michael Burnham and Spock's father, Sarek, is on a mission to convene with the Klingons in order to attempt to forge a peace between the Klingons and the Federation. While on his journey there, he is accosted by a radical Vulcan separatist who does not want humans polluting their culture. So Sarek is left careening through space, fading in and out of consciousness in his ship, and magical Vulcan space telepathy lets Michael Burnham know that there's something wrong. The Discovery goes to get him, but the nebula proves troublesome and they're unable to use sensors to find him, so Michael Burnham has to get in his shuttle and use the magic Vulcan space telepathy and a newly invented device to amplify that, and basically act as a GPS to Sarek. That's the A plot. The B plot is mostly just Captain Lorca being a fucking asshole. So, we're going to talk about what's good about this episode. That's going to be the shorter part of this. And then we're going to talk about everything bad about this episode and how it's kind of a microcosm of the show in general and everything that's bad about the show. So, the good things. I really still love Sonequa Martin Green as an actress. I think she is the only reason that I don't want to punch Michael Burnham in the mouth over and over. And I think that she is bringing a tremendous amount of vulnerability, but also a lot of strength to the character in a way that I think makes her very sympathetic, at least to me. I know a lot of other people don't like her and find her ridiculous. I thought this episode did a good job of explaining maybe why she was almost eager to abandon some of the more Vulcan aspects of herself. And I think it explains a lot more of why her character is the way she is now. I liked the scenes with her and Cadet Tilly. I thought those were really fun. I know everyone else hates Tilly, and I understand why you hate Tilly. I'm really just not that bothered by annoying characters, so I kind of like Cadet Tilly. I think she's cute. And their scenes were kind of charming and showed us another side to Michael I don't think we've gotten to see quite enough, which is a little more of a settled-in, normal kind of for her. So that was nice. I also really liked the introduction of Ash Tyler. He's kind of a fun character. He hasn't made enough of an impression that I'm, like, psyched, but it's nice to see him interacting with more of the crew. Well, Tilly and Michael. And I liked the little bit that they used him in this show, and I liked the interactions between him and Michael. I thought they were kind of fun, and it's nice to see her interacting with someone besides Tilly or Lorca or Saru. There were a couple throwaway lines I really liked. I liked when they were explaining how the magical Vulcan telepathy amplifier was going to work, where Stamets is kind of reacting in a big way to the new frontier of science linking all consciousness, oh my god, of this. And Lorca's like, we have exactly no time to address the metaphysical implications of this. That gave me a bit of a chuckle. Stamets, they've done a good job of obviously making him off. There's just something a little bit different around the way he's playing the role this time. There's something off, and we know there's something wrong ever since he used the spore drive because of the creepy mirror shot in the last episode. So I thought it was good that they followed up on that by kind of making it clear there's something going on that we haven't addressed or examined yet. The problem is I think it's still making the show too series-based and not really episodal enough. And it's still very much bogged down in the nitty-gritty, dark twists and turns they want the plot to take that makes it just feel like a corny action movie instead of Star Trek. So let's talk about the bad things. Captain Lorca is a loose cannon who plays by his own rules, and that is basically his entire character. He's sort of just a raging dick who struts around, does whatever he wants regardless of the consequences, doesn't really value the people around him even though he pretends that he does, doesn't really ever make an unselfish or sincere choice for the greater good, as we saw at the end of the episode when faced with the choice whether to go after the Admiral that wants to have him removed from the ship or not. It's clear that he's decided that his position on the Discovery is more important than this person's life. You know, this person he's apparently been fucking for years, so that's cool. I just find so little to like about his character. It's such an irredeemable character. He's just a complete shitbag. He's just willing to do whatever it takes to get what he wants, whether or not that's even necessarily the best thing for the Federation or anyone else. He's very, very single-minded, and he does a good job of justifying his nonsense. The Klingons, in the end, were incredibly frustrating. They basically set a trap attempting to catch Sarek and then wind up lucking out on a Starfleet Admiral instead. And it was just a very un-Klingon sort of setup where they act like they were going to meet diplomatically to discuss something in good faith with a foe, and then they kidnap them and kill a bunch of people. It's just, these Klingons just aren't Klingons. There's nothing that ties them back to actual Klingons. There's no honor, there's no joy, there's nothing. They're just boring, grumpy space aliens. They've lost so much of their characterization, and the way they talk is still so boring. I can't imagine a Klingon drinking song coming from any of these characters. That's the kind of show this is now. And that's really frustrating. The other thing that I think really hindered this episode is we know Sarek lives because we've seen The Next Generation and we've seen the original series and we've seen enough Star Trek to know that Sarek fucking lives. So when an enormous part of the episode hinges on Sarek being in peril, it kind of makes the stakes not very stakey when we know how the peril will turn out, because we've seen the future. Which is, again, just an example of this series getting bogged down in being a prequel and then hemming itself in a really weird way so that it can't really explore all the things it wants to explore. And the stuff with Michael and Sarek, that's definitely one of the only really good parts of the episode. Was I thought that was really interesting, and the choice he was presented with was really, really fascinating, and it was a good kind of conflict for him and a good reveal, and I liked that. But the whole rest of the episode, and the fact that I knew how it was going to turn out and I knew the stakes weren't going to be high, it cuts so much ground out from underneath the episode, and it's just really frustrating. So I hate Captain Lorca. They've ruined the Klingons. The Vulcans kind of suck too. I don't really know how much I have left to like about this series. Oh, and CBS All Access is the fucking worst. It puts on commercials in like random commercial breaks instead of like at least having the decency to bookend the episode like Hulu. Speaking of which, one of the ads was for Hulu. Like, how self-aware is it that while watching this fucking series on this shitty streaming service, I get an advertisement for a better streaming service? Oh my god, I hate it. I hate it. So far, there is so little for me to like about this series. I can't wait for the Orville to come back next week. I am gonna try and push through to season 1. If there is a season 2, I'll give it maybe 3 episodes, but I think I'm getting to the point where I'm sick of this series. I'm tired of Star Trek being dark and grim and just another gritty sci-fi. I want my optimistic space socialism back, thanks. This isn't what I signed up for. You know, if this is all you've got for me, Discovery, I don't want it. If you agree with me, or if you disagree, tell me about it in the comments down below. Like and subscribe if you want to. That's everything I have for you. Wiedersehen.